Hello and welcome to the Tavern Chat cast. Whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're listening on Anchor or one of the other podcast catchers, servers, whatever they call those apps where you listen to podcasts. Um, Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. Today on the blog side at tinkerstavern.com, I have launched or done my first weekly uh, Tankar's Tavern YouTube recap, where I recap the seven videos, almost like seven deadly sins, right? But I recap the seven videos of the prior week. I think I'll try doing that Mondays. I think in the long run, what's going to happen is that I'm going to wind up doing more in-depth descriptions for these videos as I put them up, and that could be my cheat sheet for when I actually do this weekly post, because this weekly putting together a cheat sheet for seven videos took me, with some small interruptions, about 2.5 hours. It is not an easy, quick process, but there has been interest in it, and I know not everybody wants to watch every video, or even most of the videos, or even any of the videos. I understand that, you know, but it's how a lot of media is consumed these days, between YouTube and podcasts, or I guess other places like Breaker and BitChute also serve up videos. I'm focusing on YouTube because at this point, one thing at a time. We'll worry about more later. So, but this whole conversation came up because of the blog and people that were on the blog side. Some of them getting nervous or getting upset that they felt they weren't getting the full Tankar's Tavern treatment of articles and news releases, because some stuff was not being replicated on the blog side. So Taylor from Clerks, where Ringmail called with a series of voicemails on anchors. I'm going to pass this over to Taylor, but I'm going to comment on it because he makes some good points. And my comments would be like, I've listened to his voicemails, but I'm not exactly. I didn't write out a script of answers as to how I'm going to answer. I pretty much think I know how I'm going to answer, but it might change as we listen to him. So let me go there.
Hey Tankar, this is Taylor, Cleric Square Ringmail on Discord, responding to it's hard to get a blog up and running. I'm new to Blogger. Cleric Square Ringmail, I started it in 2019 as a creative outlet after my twins were born. I couldn't play in my home game anymore, so I had to do something.
And I can understand that completely. And actually, Tankar's Tavern was born as I was getting back into gaming and realized that I needed to express myself when it came to gaming, and didn't have a home group. Yes, I know I live in the five boroughs of New York City. It's not as easy to get a home group together as you might expect if you're an old school gamer. So my gaming was mostly online, but the blog allowed me to express myself. Okay. And again, this is prior to lowering the bar of entry for podcasts and for vidcasts.
I don't think it's really that hard to start. You learn and you get better and you meet people and you slowly start getting more page views.
And that is part of it too. There's a lot of people go into blogging, podcasting, video creating, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna get 1 million subscribers! Woohoo! I'm gonna be ranking in the top 1,000 on Alexa! Woohoo! My blog, I'm gonna be the next Joe Rogan on my podcast." Listen, so long as what you're doing, as long as the process is entertaining for you, as long as you get fulfillment from this process of creating and sharing, and you get some feedback, positive feedback, that's really that's where the value comes from. Okay, I love the fact that people are commenting and leaving voicemails and I get emails and I get uh, direct messages on Facebook, and it means a lot. Okay, that is seriously the currency that I thrive on. So.
But it is easier, definitely, to become a fake e-celebrity on YouTube than
A fake celebrity. I've been a fake blogger celebrity for years, right? I mean, no, not really. And I don't think it's being a fake celebrity. It's just, um, and I think you'll say this in your later part of your voicemail. Different mediums for the different messages, or different messages, or what you're trying to communicate. Certain things work better in different mediums. Certain things work better with the spoken word than the written word. It's just how it
is on a blog, but it's not really that hard to start, I would say. The barrier to entry feels like it will be higher on podcasting or streaming because I can blog from my phone if I wanted to, though. To be truthful, with Anchor and with OBS, because most laptops have a built-in camera, that barrier is probably honestly the same. Now that I'm thinking about it,
I would say that blogging and podcasting, especially thanks to Anchor, Anchor is to podcasting what Blogger was when it came out to blogging. Anchor is a free way to get your podcast out there. You don't have to pay a service, which I had initially for the podcast that myself, James Spahn, and Gun Hallstrom had. I'm not saying it's bad. It was good, but Anchor is just an easy way for you to do it. And now, am I happy that I get 200 listens a day? Yeah. Do I wish I was getting 2,000? Sure. However, the reality is, I'm talking old school gaming. I've already limited my potential audience, right? So that's part of it.
To the point you made about the nature of blogging, it has definitely changed. Where blogs used to dominate in conversations, in rules, ideas, industry news, opinions, and people going back and forth about it in the comments, now it's more about announcements.
And that is true. Because it's easier to put up an announcement on a blog and have people find it. And you can certainly have game theory discussions, but look at the blogs that used to do a lot of stuff like that, and they've all slowed down or ceased. Doesn't mean that the person that was behind the blog has ceased creating content. But there's another thing that we're forgetting about too: print on demand and the advent of the strong advent of places like One Bookshelf, Drive Through RPG. It allows that, and even using what do you call it? Word, Pages, all these low entry word processing / layout software. You don't need InDesign. You can get Affinity layout or Affinity Design, whatever they call the program, for like $50, right? So that barrier is so much lower. So whereas people were putting out content on blogs, now a lot of them are putting out content out as self-published work, and they're getting paid for it. And I know a number of people that started out as bloggers that now make a noticeable amount of their income creating content by self-publishing. So I think that's part of the transition too.
Now it's more about content. When I write a post, I write it to produce something that the reader will keep.
And again, I that's how a lot of it used to be too. So I'm going to take a little exception with Taylor on this. I think that content creation on blogs, when it comes to new creatures, new items, dungeons, I'm not saying they don't still happen, but I think that a lot of this has moved over to self-publishing. because again, the barrier to entry is so low, and the ability to monetize it, even small. You can monetize your hobby of producing gaming material enough that you cover your expenditures in gaming material, then it's a win-win, right? Your hobby pays for itself. Just a thought.
An adventure, a house rule. And Dyson can't publish a map on Anchor.
And that's true. And there are certain things that, and Dyson is because of his Patreon. He does a great business with that, releasing the maps under Creative Commons. You know, God bless him. He certainly found a business model that works for him. Would that carry over to a podcast or a vidcast? No. However, I could see Dyson doing a regular vidcast showing how he draws these maps, show and talk as he's doing it, and get a little insight into Dyson. I think that maybe that's something that he should think about. You know, certainly it's an option. Look, some people are do what they do because they enjoy doing what they're doing. Okay, I enjoy doing what I'm doing. If I make a little scratch off it, it mostly goes back to the community or to buy some gaming material. You know, it's not paying bills for me, but for some people, this pays bills. For Dyson, it's his livelihood, and God bless him for it. I am thrilled when anybody in our industry is able to make a living off of the work in this hobby that they love. So, you know, I think a lot. I think we've lost a lot of blog content to that. I'd like to hear feedback from others. I'd like to see what their thoughts are.
So blogs aren't dying. Blogs aren't going away.
I don't think blogs are going away. Do I think that they are dying? I think that I should say they are receding. They're receding in importance and in their numbers. And I'm not saying we're not going to see some good blogs pop up. I'd love to see them, but I think that I guess when we had the westward expansion, right, and everybody was rushing to get their land grab, that was blogs 10 years ago, right? Everybody was rushing out there, and let's get my blog, and you could get a blog and get great numbers of eyes on. I think it's harder now. And again, I don't think the blogs are going to go away. I just don't think that they are the focus that they used to be in our hobby. I still read them. I still produce a blog, but I just don't know. I'm watching it. I was never going to hit that type of scenario we did 10, 8, 6 years ago, where blogs were where a huge amount of discussion was happening. We lost it with Google Plus, and nothing really took Google Plus's place. Maybe didn't. Facebook didn't. Discord hasn't. It's the diaspora is all over the place from the Google Plus death knell when it comes to old school gaming.
We're just seeing a shift out of their peripheral competency. If I want to have a quick conversation, Twitter is easier for that because it facilitates that public back and forth.
What can I say about Twitter? I put out tweets throughout the day sharing out my content, and I don't participate in any Twitter conversations at all. And I probably don't even have to put out tweets because I think somebody has, at the very least, mirrored the blog side with a Twitter bot to put out the shares. I don't know. Twitter to me just seems like you can't have true conversations. But what do I know? I barely use it.
So what does that mean? Well, if someone tells you you should cover more news on the blog, or if you should provide more product promos on the stream, then tell them, whatever.
And I'm not laughing at you. I feel the same way. Part of you wants to say, yeah, whatever. But I understand the frustration. I do. I understand it, and I've gone through it, and I've gone through watching things change, and you want to, why are you changing on me? So I'm trying to do my best to accommodate um, all methods of information consumption uh, without really changing how I am disseminating the information. Wow, I'm using non-10 car words. You'll have to forgive me.
You're using the media that's appropriate to what your objective is.
And that's certainly a huge part of it. Something like this conversation that I'm actually having with Taylor, even though he's not right in front of me, and even though we're not interacting directly, I can have this back and forth because of this media, because it's a spoken word. I've never really liked interviews that are written on a blog, and I've done them and I've participated in them, and they don't come off very well.
And that's the reason that there are fewer blogs now than there were, is because we're using them for their core thing.
I don't know if we're using them for the core thing. I think that blogs can be good for announcements, can be good for content, can be good for discussion. But I think some of it, especially in the case of me, I need to diversify the methods that I communicate with the community that's formed around the tavern to keep things fresh for me. And that's part of it, right? I mean, if I start feeling stale and lethargic about participating, then maybe I don't participate, right? And that would suck. And I don't want this participation, this conversation, sharing with the community. To me, it's huge. It's huge. It literally drives me. And when I meet people at conventions or at game stores or face to face, having them realize that they've seen 10 car, no holds barred. Do I curse like a New York City police officer that served 20 years in places like the South Bronx? Yes, I do. I certainly do. F bombs, litter my conversation pretty largely. Um, but how I present myself, how I am here, the conversations I'm having, we'd have the same conversation in my local pub if we were sitting down. I like to think that if you meet me at a convention, you should feel like you kind of know me, or comfortable around me. That we don't have to get that awkward 10 minutes of BS conversation out of the way before we can sit down and have a conversation. So that's part of the reason too why I enjoy doing this.
Them's my two coppers. Keep on going. Cheers.
Well, Taylor, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you calling in the show. Uh, you drive the conversation. The community drives the conversation. And if you have topics that you want me to cover, drop a voicemail. Right? Drop an email, tencarstavern@gmail.com. Find me on Facebook, Eric Tencards. I guess I have 3,200 friends on Facebook. Max is out at 5, right? 5 grand? So we got room, so I can add some of you folks, if you're listeners. Folks, if you are listening, if you want to help the podcast, the Vidcast, if you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe, like, comment. It all is huge. Quick thing. Wednesday, 8 p.m. Talking Crit. I do believe we have Jeff Talanian joining myself and Bad Mike. That's going to be a fucking amazing show. See, I told you I curse like a sailor. You probably don't want to have any of your children that you don't want learning bad words around when I'm doing a live show, because I get a little bit more more F-bomb filled during a live show, but I just, and there's no editing on this show. We all know that, right? What you see is what you get. Folks, the voicemail number, if you want to leave a voicemail, 347-509-5168. As Rach was nice enough to point out to me, when I couldn't remember the damn number, she's like, well, aren't the last 4 digits your old Sergeant Shield number when you were active? I went, oh, yeah. That's the reason why you chose the number, because you found that one was available. I'm like, oh, yeah. All right, well, again, I'm a little stupid and slow sometimes. So, again, 347-509-5168. We're still in the midst of the world of COVID. I'm not saying get your shot. I've got my, I'm well over 2 weeks past my second shot. Rachel is well over 2 weeks past her second shot. My parents are both well over their 2 weeks past their second shot. It was important because we're an extended household for us to get our own herd immunity. For those following at home, remember I was hospitalized 3 times last year. Never hospitalized in my adult life. I only hospitalized once when I was like 3 for a couple of days because I had a bad infection. And here I am 3 times last year. So when I talk about comorbidities, I have some. So I wanted to make sure I was addressing that, and that's why I got my immunization. I hate needles. I am not a fan of needles. Needles are ouchy and cringeworthy, and I have a mental issue with them. So I understand if you don't want to get immunized. I understand. Okay? Again, you know your health situation. You know the situation of those around you better than anybody else. All I ask is that you make a common sense decision, not an emotional decision, not I was forced to make this decision, or I'm afraid of having a needle and therefore I made this decision. Use your common sense. Okay? You know your situation. You know the situation of those loved ones around you, your family, your friends, your community. Take actions to keep yourself safe, because you can't keep others safe without keeping yourself safe. All right. Be safe, be well. God bless each and every one of you. We're coming up on 3 years of the podcast, and I think 12 years of the blog this spring. Holy shite. Yeah. Time to celebrate. Oh, almost forgot. Torchlight issue number 1 going to come in around 28 pages or so. It's going to be going to the editor in the next day or so, and maybe out early May. Exciting times. All right, folks. Knock on wood. I know it pisses off some of you, but yeah, fuck it. All right, folks. I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you.